Well, Rudy has finally spoken out, and we are going to go over some of the things that he said today. Before we get into it, though, I did want to let you guys know that this video is for educational and entertainment purposes only. Please remember to be kind to everybody everywhere in your everyday life, in your home, in the grocery store, and especially in the comment section down below. Please do not show hate to anybody, anywhere. Good morning, my lovelies, my beauties, my friends. My name is Christina and welcome to my channel. If you're new here, thank you so much for clicking on this video. I really hope that you will subscribe, stick around, take a chance in hearing some things that I have to say. And if you are a returning subscriber, y'all already know, y'all are my babies. So good morning, good morning, good morning. How is everybody doing today? I hope you all are having an amazing day. I hope you all are having a wonderful week. I know some of y'all are flipping out right now because y'all seen this interview come out. Now, I want to say a couple things real quick because we're just going to be picking up where we left off yesterday with all the new stuff that has come out literally since I put out that video yesterday. Again, go get caught up on the playlist that I have. If you're not caught up, that way you know what we're talking about here. First thing is, I'm just going to be speaking about very public information that is already out there in the mainstream media on news sources, and I'm giving you guys my unprofessional opinion, so please go do your own research, form your own opinion, just don't show hate to anybody anywhere. Second thing is, I feel like a lot of people feel after watching this interview with Rudy, and that is...
What you've been doing for those 8 years?
Just trying to study the best I can online, understand how the world works.
More confused and way more questions, and actually maybe even a little bit of added into that too. So let's just get into it. So Rudy, who we now know, according to him, is actually 26, okay? So remember how we were talking yesterday about how the private investigator said that they had found out that Janie allegedly, I have to say all these things you guys know because I wasn't there and I don't know these people, that Janie allegedly lied when she filed the first missing persons report on him, and then it just kind of went on from there, and said that he was 17, he was actually 18, okay? And so he did say that he was 26.
How are you 25?
Let's say 26. That's my age and date sometimes. So sometimes it's a little hard for me to keep track, especially if I don't have phones or anything, it's a little difficult.
So I do want to keep that in mind here. We're not talking about a youngin'. We're talking about a 26-year-old. Now, where he is mentally, we don't know because he hasn't had an evaluation. So I just want to throw that out there. He's actually 26 years old. Some of the things that Rudy said was that while he was missing to the world, he had access to a cell phone. He had access to internet where he was talking to people online. He drove a car, even though he didn't have a driver's license. We know that he spoke to the neighbors and was going over to the neighbors' houses, and that he claims that although he was not physically bound and captive, that in his mind, he was mentally bound and captive.
Tell us about what it was like living there. Were you allowed to leave the room? Was she holding you there against your will?
She never, locked me in or, handcuffed me or anything like that. I had free will to leave. It just felt like brainwashing, honestly.
Now, before we start steamrolling into the rest of this, y'all make sure you stay to the end because that's where I'm going to give you guys my opinion on what I think exactly is going on here. And yeah. So one of the things that Rudy said was that he actually got pulled over by HPD while driving his mama's car at one point without a driver's license. And that his mama told him to give them a fake name.
Were there ever times where police would come to your house to check on you? That you recall?
I think at one point.
Did you have interaction with the police, or did your mom make you hide? How were you able to get away? I know police mentioned some fake names. Did you actually speak to the police ever?
Once or twice, maybe once when I was driving my mom's car and they pulled us over because, she wasn't feeling good. She had took some pain medicine after a surgery and, she was struggling to drive. So just get in the passenger seat. I'll take you home. It's not too far, And, yeah, they pulled me over for something like that, but I don't remember what name I gave them. She told me, just say something else, say a different name because they don't, they're gonna arrest you.
That's weird. That's really, really, really weird. So he was driving, speeding without a driver's license, gives the police a fake name, and they let him leave. That's according to him, okay? Allegedly, according to him, I gotta say that. But we do know that the police was up inside Janie's home because they saw Rudy on their body cam footage because the family got the picture from them. And there they gave him I'm trying to figure out what Janie's connection was, that she had, something ain't right there with that. Okay, something ain't right. And I think that should probably be investigated as well. If it was just a continuous dropping of the ball of HPD, okay, cool, check it out, reevaluate, maybe talk to your officers, talk about the importance of certain things, and then go from there. But I mean, it just seems like that's a lot of like them getting past the police. Now, we do know that Rudy's father worked for HPD. He was in a money-making scheme where he allegedly committed fraud of like $150,000. And he was caught up in the investigation with HPD, and then he ended up going into a parking garage and ending it all. And that happened back in 2014. So there are links with the family with HPD because Rudy's father worked there. But I just find it so weird that he literally said that he got pulled over. Pulled over. He's a missing person. He has no driver's license, and he gives a fake name, and they let him leave? Weird. Now, let's talk about the fact that listening to Rudy in this interview was very hard to follow. I would have loved to be a fly on the wall in the conference room at Fox News after they did this interview. Truly, I would have loved to know what they really, really, really thought.
Given everything that you've been through and with your mom, I mean, do you think there's something that police should know about?
Just that there's a lot of corruption, and it's literally through the colors. Like I said, I'm not saying, oh, there's corrupt cops and this and that. Literally, it's a corruption of the mind. It's through nanobots and it's through the flu vaccines and everything. That's why people have that first memory of waking up and being alive whenever they're a kid, It's like...
And he was all over the place. He is allegedly still staying with this friend, and he says that he's very happy there, he feels loved there, and that basically the public needs to leave them alone. But this part still doesn't make sense to me, and I'm going to tell you more about that why in a bit. Rudy in this interview would go from talking what was seemingly normal and articulate, like he was like able to like get certain points across, and he would be on one path and then he would veer all the way off.
What have you been doing for those 8 years?
Just trying to study the best I can online, understand how the world works, understand different cultures, different religions, different everything, because my life, I just believe that we should stop putting labels on everything and just understand the communities and the prosperity and the growth and the positivity, because there's just too much fighting, there's too much anger, there's too much depression and mental health problems in the world.
And when I heard Rudy speaking like this, it just made me think like there's one of either three things that's going on, in my opinion. This is my very unprofessional opinion. Okay, Rudy is either got serious mental issues, which I believe he does have regardless. Okay, regardless of any of these other reasons, he's got mental issues, and I believe that he had them before any of this. Okay, but nevertheless, I'm talking about maybe something that causes him to live in an alternate universe. Okay. Or two, he was on something. And I actually am leaning a little bit towards that one. Or three, he has taken so many somethings that he has a long-term outlook on life. I believe that Rudy needs a serious mental evaluation done, an in-depth one. And I told y'all yesterday that I really believe that adult protective services should be involved right now. They should be involved. Now, Rudy said in this interview,
how have police been handling this, do you think? What have they been saying to you, and what's it been like?
I mean, they're trying the best that they can and giving me space that they can, but it's a struggle still, you know. I'm just slowly trying to take it one day at a time, you know. It's just a lot it overwhelms me very much.
If you listen to him give this interview, it doesn't sound like he should be making any serious life decisions right now. He should be getting help. He should be getting a mental evaluation. They should be giving him urinalysis and making sure he's sober, because I want to remind y'all that the neighbors said back when he was still in the hospital, long before Quanell even came out and gave that interview, the neighbors said that every time they seen Dolph, because that's who they knew him by, every time they seen Dolph, he was never in his sober mind.
Never came in my garage with a sober mind. Never.
And that he would take mushrooms, and he was never in his sober mind. Well, I'm here to tell y'all right now, in this interview, it does not sound like he's in his sober mind, whatever that really means at the core. When Rudy was speaking about this, he said that this all started between him and his mom. When he got a speeding ticket, he said after that, he wasn't able to have a life anymore.
Why do you think she wanted to keep you hidden?
I don't know. It all started just because I had a speeding ticket. I went like 70 and a 55 trying to go to work. And then when that all started, it's just like I wasn't able to have a life. Just don't do that, or it's bad, don't do that. You know, like the cops are gonna come out, they're gonna do this, they're gonna arrest you if you're driving a car without a license or this and that.
And that right there made me think about his mental age. If he started doing substances when he was young, and he's just been kind of hiding at his mama's house, doing more substances, whether she's giving them to him, feeding him. And mind you, we're not talking about her right now. Y'all already know what I think about her, okay? And it's still the same. However, we're talking about Rudy because he's the one that gave this interview, and we finally got to see him speaking at this point. If he started using substances at a very young age, he could be mentally stunted from there, because for him to say that he got a speeding ticket doing 70 in a 55, and then his mom just, if he felt like he couldn't, you know, he couldn't be free anymore. Well, you don't have a driver's license, and he didn't have a real job. He said he was working with his mom. And he probably couldn't pay the license. He probably couldn't pay the ticket, and he probably risked going to jail. And to me, that sounds like a kid that's saying like, oh, this house is a prison. You know how kids do? They treat me like I'm a slave around here. I got to take out the trash. I got to clean. That's what it sounded like. And I don't know if he's not articulating exactly what was going on, if he's still holding back and hiding things, or if he's mentally stunted and he's been using substances, and to him, somebody telling him he couldn't be free and drive when he wants, like, the answers are like floating around out there right now. Something strange that he said was that he felt like he had Stockholm syndrome. I have never heard somebody that has Stockholm syndrome realize it within like a couple days of being captive for 8 years and be able to just come out and say, I have Stockholm syndrome.
The fact that, yes, you were an adult, but the mindset that you've been in?
Yeah, it was just like a constant brainwashing, like a Stockholm type of syndrome, where it's just, you know, you just fall in love with your captive and just want to take care of them, do this and that, you know.
To me, it felt like somebody told him things that he needed to say. And realistically, this interview with him felt like things he was told to say. And then, like, because of his state of mind, he would get, like, off track.
Can you go into the brainwashing? What would she say to you? Would she say something would happen if you were to leave her home?
It wasn't that. It's just, after I left, I started to understand that all of it's just an algorithm. It's literally all an algorithm. If you look at something black, you understand that they understand. If you look at something white, it'll confuse you when you're trying to go in a positive direction. If you look at something red, it'll remind you of love. If you look at green, it'll remind you of, you know, like grounding people that are there for you and stuff, you know?
And he would get like completely off track like this. And then at one point he went on this rant where he was talking about feeling like he was living in a jail and he just wanted to be free, and that he would try to talk to people online, but he just couldn't connect with them because he wasn't taught the skills to connect with them, and that people didn't understand him.
Like, I would try to introduce myself, say hello to people online or this and that, and every time it just seemed like you know, just completely get shot down by people, and I'm just trying to make friends or socialize, and it's just like I don't understand how to talk to people sometimes. You know, it feels like I'm speaking a completely different language than them, and I just don't understand sometimes.
It just feels like something is being hidden. And I gotta tell y'all, think about this, for those of y'all that have been following this case. Had Quanell never came out and gave that interview in front of that hotel, we would not know any of this. They would have gotten away with this, no matter what's really happened to Rudy behind closed doors or not, okay? He obviously does not want her to get into any kind of trouble. He obviously does not want to stay with his real family at this point. He wants to stay with this friend for whatever reason, okay? But if Quanell hadn't come out and told us what he told us, we would not know any of this, because the press conference, the police said, well, there's not really enough to arrest anybody. Can't really do anything. Wish them all the best of luck. We wouldn't know about any of this. The heat wouldn't be on right now. If it was up to me, little old me, I would think that Rudy needs to be taken in and fully evaluated. I'm not talking about sitting down with a counselor for an hour. I'm talking about admitted to a place. I'm talking about a full detox of whatever he is on and a full mental evaluation and see what is going on with him. And I think from what we know right now, Janie should be arrested. She should have been arrested. I mean, at the very least, lying to the police. Like, I mean, I don't know. I guess I just don't understand this. I also think that substances are a big factor in this, more than I think a lot of the public wants to admit. I think right now, it just seems like a lot of us are harping on the things that was told to Quanell, okay? Was told to him in that moment. But we got to remember, he was in that hospital for 8 days before he spoke to Quanell. And I can't help but to wonder if substances is why he's not with his actual family that loves him. Because in this interview, he seems like he's on something, or he needs some real mental help. And I don't understand how whoever is taking care of him right now, whoever this friend is, how they're not getting him help. Because he sat there in this interview and said he wanted to have a family, he wanted to have a job. It's going to be hard for Rudy to hold down a job if he can't hold down a conversation. Because when he's asked a question, he goes off into talking about the algorithms and the colors and all of these other things. So either he needs substance abuse help or he needs serious mental help, and whoever has him right now should be helping him. I don't know, you guys. I just think there is so much more to this that we just don't know. And that interview made me more confused. Do I think that Rudy is a bad person? I don't. I really don't. Even if he's doing some of these things or has been that I'm wondering what I think could have happened, and I truly don't know. I mean, something could come out tomorrow and I go, poof, I was totally wrong. It was something totally different. I think he probably grew up with an extremely manipulative mother. I mean, allegedly, she had multiple husbands at one time. I mean, one husband even had to contact the courthouse and be like, hey, I'm illegally married to this woman because she's married to 3 other men. Extremely manipulative, okay? Married to multiple men at different times, have all these different aliases online, pretending to be different people, literally can go to a private investigator and get free help so she can allegedly get free donations for a son that's not missing. Those types of people are scary to me. Okay, they are. If you see somebody running at you with a baseball bat, you know to run, take cover, or defend yourself, correct? But when you see a little old sweet lady that's crying because her son is missing.
Someone out there knows something. Anything. I just want the closure. That not knowing, that's torture.
And she's taking your money from you that you could be feeding your kids with, and she's going home and sleeping just fine at night. That's scary. Those are the people it's hard to protect yourself from. And I think he grew up with this mother, and I believe that his older brother, who passed away from a motorcycle accident, was his father figure, because he said that, which is crazy because his older brother passed away in 2011 and his dad was alive until 2014. And he still considered his big brother his father figure. And when he lost his big brother, I think he lost the only sane person in his life at that time. And I think that at a young age, he probably looked to the streets and substances to self-medicate, and he has not stopped since. And it seems like his mother took advantage of the situation. She could keep him happy with these little bits of substances. He would go hide in the backyard long as he had his beer back there and could keep drinking and eating a rotisserie chicken while his family was inside. And she could continue to scheme and scam people for money and also have one person that couldn't leave her because she had him so freaking trapped in his mind thinking that the police, if they ever found out what his real name was, that he was going to go to jail and all of this stuff. So I really think that it's a combination, but we'll never know if Rudy doesn't get sober and get help so he can get better. Let me tell y'all a little story. When I was a teenager, a young teenager, like, you know, middle school, early high school age, I had a really good friend, and if she's watching this, love you, that has a brother who took a lot of, let's say, little square pieces of paper that you would put on your tongue back in the 90s. Y'all know what I mean? Okay. And he ended up having a bad trip. And he tripped for a year. Literally, he had to go into a mental institution. It changed his brain. And actually, when he came out of the mental institution, he looked different. Like his face looked different. Handsome, loving, a wonderful person, but he did look different from the mental stuff that went on from taking that hit, and it changed him. I wonder what's going on with Rudy. If he's eating a lot of mushrooms, what's going on? What do you guys think? Let me know what you guys think in the comment section down below. Other than that, I love y'all. I'm going to be following this. But that young man, because he's not a boy, that young man needs some help. And I hope that his biological family will fight to help get it to him. Y'all let me know what y'all think down below. Other than that, I love y'all, and I'll see y'all in the next video. Love you guys. Bye.